Thanks. We want to welcome everybody to the Iowa CDL Infrastructure Grant Informational Webinar. We're really excited about this opportunity that the governor has given us to hand out these grants. And so we look forward to sharing the information that we have right now with the grant process. We will try to, at the end, we will try to do a Q&A time allotted. So please, if you have questions, please put those in the chat or the Q&A. We'll also try to complete that Q&A and send out the slideshow, the webinar recording. All of that will be posted on the Earn and Learn Iowa website in a few days. So if we don't have an opportunity to answer questions at the end, we'll definitely get that out within the next few days and get that posted for all of you. Today's agenda. Right now, we'll do some introductions on the key grant team people. We'll do a grant overview. We'll talk a little bit about the requirements and the successful successful applicants. The project design. We won't be doing a registered apprenticeship overview. I missed that. I'm sorry. As many of you know, I do a registered apprenticeship here at Iowa Workforce Development, but this does not pertain to that. IowaGrants.gov, a video and review with our grant administrator, and then we'll try to do some Q&A towards the end. Your grant team, myself, I'll be the grant manager. I'll assist with questions during the application process. I'll manage the sub-recipient post-award. Patrick Rice is our grant administrator here at Iowa Workforce Development. He will be assisting with the application process and Iowa grants, and he's responsible for the application review process. All right, so many of you might be asking, or you've already started to get into the process, but where do we apply? So all of our grants are currently located on IowaGrants.gov. That application was open on August 10th, and the deadline for applications is September 25th, 2023 at 2 p.m. So what is the purpose of this grant? So the purpose of this grant is to award the development and/or expansion of CDL infrastructure in Iowa by providing funding for Iowa community colleges to help support the building, the purchasing, the remodeling of their CDL training infrastructure. These infrastructures include construction and remodeling of facilities, purchasing of space for training and/or equipment, trucks, simulators, monitoring devices, etc. We'll go into that a little bit further down the road, but that's the main purpose of the grant. The eligible applicants, currently the eligible applicants are public community colleges located in Iowa. Each community college is eligible for one award only. Iowa Workforce Development requires applicants for this grant to cultivate partnerships to fulfill project activities and outcomes. Grantees must comply with all the applicable provisions of the state, federal law pertaining to non-discrimination, sexual harassment, and equal opportunity opportunities. Community colleges must offer at least one competency-based training courses and/or a training course that would allow someone to complete training and take licensing exam within 30-day window. Community colleges must agree to freeze CDL tuition for 5 years after the infrastructure project is completed. So we did have a question about that. If your current program doesn't operate on a per credit fee, then the flat fee is what you would need to put into the application and explain that within your budget. You also need to know that the flat fee is what needs to remain frozen for the 5 years. Training must meet the minimum federal standards required for training that entry-level drivers must complete before being permitted to take certain commercial driver's license CDL skills or knowledge knowledge test. For more detailed description on the eligible applicants, please review that definition section within the notice of funding opportunity on the grant page. Performance measures. All applications must include performance measures that logically connect a project goal with proposed activities, including, not limited to, demonstrating an overall change in the number of new and/or upgraded certified truck drivers, increased class size or the number of classes offered, a completion rate of classes and licensing, the length of time per training, and the number of new and upgraded CDL drivers by endorsement type. See Appendix A, application guidance and scoring rubric located within the notice of funding opportunity for detailed description of what reviewers will be looking for. And we'll talk about that also. We'll share that here on the webinar. The award information, currently the funding available is $5 million. That source of fund is coming from the American Rescue Act, state and local fiscal recovery funds, SLFRF. The program authority is Iowa Workforce Development, has the authority to award these grants and may be found in the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 as delegated by Governor Reynolds pursuant to her authority under the same act. The minimum and maximum award amounts. Iowa Workforce Development anticipates awarding a maximum grants of up to $1 million with 50% match of the award amount. Funding decisions are made as funding is available, and Iowa Workforce Development is not obligated to provide any requested amount. The funding priorities and additional considerations. Additional considerations will be given to applicants as follows. Priority given to applicants with the ability to train and certify new and upgraded truck drivers continuously and in high volumes. Additional points awarded for programs that offer their facilities as a third-party testing location, competency-based training available, and lower tuition rates. Project and award period. Like we said, the project period is 11/1/2023 through 6/30 of 2025. The awardees must provide detailed reports of progress of the project and the use of funds every quarter, beginning from the date the memorandum of understanding between the applicant and the state is fully executed. This is something that's really important to understand when it comes to the SLFRF funds. The funds that are awarded are provided by State and Local Recovery Fund, part of the American Rescue Plan. SLFRF requires that all costs be incurred during the period beginning March 3 of 2021 and ending December 31, 2024. Therefore, all costs incurred prior to March 3 of 2021 and after December 31, 2024 are not eligible uses of these funds. The period of performance LFRF runs until December 31 of 2026, which we shouldn't have a problem with. Obviously, our grant project period is until 6/30 of 2025. Which will provide the recipients an additional 2 years during which they may expend funds for costs incurred by December 31 of 2024. So once again, we will be done with this grant process by 6/30 of 2025, but we have to read this part of it, and it shows the time frame that the overall grant is. So this is a sub-grant of that grant. Type of award. IWD will award funds to successful applicants to carry out planned proposals. Any unexpected grant dollars must be returned, any unexpended grant dollars must be returned to Iowa Workforce Development thereafter. All grant funds are administered as a reimbursement only, and no advance payment options are available. Once again, there's a 50% cost sharing or matching amount for this award. That 50% is of the award amount. The executive grant agreement will specify conditions for payment and payment schedule. Applicants are strongly encouraged to have legal representation and an account or bookkeeper to help manage any potential award and review agreement and procurement policies, etc. Okay, so the use of the funds. Grant funds provided may be used on as a condition of receiving the funds appropriated under the request proposal. The subrecipient shall testify upon the request of any committee of subcommittee of the State of Iowa General Assembly regarding the expenditures of such funds. Funds may be used for building, purchasing, or remodeling CDL training infrastructure, construction and remodeling provided by a third-party vendor, purchasing of space for training, equipment, trucks for training purposes, simulators, etc. And all grant funds are administered on a reimbursement only, and no advance payments are available. There are a couple notes in terms of construction and remodeling. The expenses related to the construction and remodeling expenses from a third-party vendor, including architectural or engineering professional fees, excavating the site, so expenses associated with the preparation of the site, including dirt work, concrete gravel payment, so expenses associated with the surfacing of pads, driveways, and buildings, the land purchase. So one thing to keep in mind, the land purchase expenses related to the project for training with a 15-acre maximum, equipment, purchases such as truck for training purposes, simulators, etc., not intended for consumable items, office furniture or computers, general supplies or materials. And then there's an others where you can describe in detail those expenditures. Like I mentioned, the purchase of space, it's a maximum of 15 acres, and this space has to be used for the CDL program and must be built on those 15 acres. Equipment, tangible personal property having a useful life of more than 1 year and per unit acquisition costs, which equals or exceeds $5,000. Patrick, is there anything there that you would like to mention that maybe I have missed?
No, I'm going to go over the budget document, which will reiterate what you just said.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. The procurement policy, all successful applicants will be required to provide a copy of their procurement policy at the time of submission to Iowa Workforce Development, along with the return of their executed agreement. I keep saying it wrong. The procurement policy template will be provided upon request. However, it is the successful applicant's responsibility to consult with the qualified and knowledgeable legal counsel to determine any specific rules or requirements that apply to their individual circumstances. What does a procurement policy do? The purpose of a procurement policy is to ensure the best value, the most advantageous balance of price, quality, and performance that is obtained when purchasing business-related products and services, and to minimize fraud, waste, and abuse in the purchasing. And there's a link on this page that will send you to some more information that will outline following the following purchases, whether it's a micro purchase, it's a purchase of supplies or services under $10,000, small purchases of supplies or services over $10,000 but under $250,000, and then purchases over $250,000 and over. So, and those would be the large purchases. So all that information is on that website right there, which once again, we'll post on the Earn and Learn website. SAM.gov registration and activation. All awarded applicants will be required to have an active SAM.gov unique code, previously the DUNS number. If you do not have a SAM.gov code, you'll be required to register and activate a SAM.gov code before your agreement will be fully executed. And so we'll have this information on there for you to go and sign up for the SAM.gov information. The scoring rubric, once again, we talked about this as you are submitting your projects. This will be the scoring rubric that will be utilized to judge your application. We're looking at the project service area, the project need and to demonstrate of how the proposal addresses the need, the program design, performance measures, organizational capacity and sustainability, and the budget. Review and selection process. A review team will use the criteria listed above in this section to review applications under the funding announcement. Applicant clarification. Some applicants may receive requests to provide clarifying information and/or make changes to their application, including changes to their budget. This information is used by IWD staff in making funding recommendation. Applications may be recommended for funding even if they are not asked to clarify questions. A request for clarification does not guarantee a grant award. Failure to respond to the request adequately and in a timely manner may result in the removal of the application for consideration. Selection for funding. Decisions to award grants and funding levels will be determined per application based upon the compliance with the requirements of this funding announcement. Applicants may be selected to enter into a grant agreement, finalizing grant terms, budget, scope of work provisions, at which the time the final decision to make a grant award will be made. Submission of the application is not guarantee of an award. Once again, you can apply on IowaGrants.gov. So what's next? Interested applicants need to register and complete their online application on that IowaGrants.gov. Utilize the appendices for guidance. Appendix A, the application guidance. Appendix B is the IowaGrant.gov new user guide information. And remember that the deadline for application is September 25, 2023 at 2 p.m. These are just a couple of the guidances for the application, the Appendix A application guidance. It breaks down exactly what you need to have within your application. And then this is application B. We'll go over this a little bit more with Patrick. But this talks about the Iowa Grants new user registration instruction and how to apply for the grant. Patrick, are you wanting to show this video?
Yeah, if you could go ahead and click the link, and what this video that we're about ready to watch is for new user registration in Iowa Grants. If you already have an Iowa Grants account, then you do not need to worry about this video, but we're going to show this 4-minute video to walk through the process if this is if you're creating an account for the first time. Chris, you muted yourself, and so we can't hear it.
This time, I just want to give you a friendly reminder.
My apologies. I thought I could mute. Here we go.
Welcome. This is a short tutorial on how to access Iowa Grants. First, go ahead and navigate to IowaGrants.gov. Once you get to IowaGrants.gov, go ahead and click on the blue button that states click here to access single sign-on tool. Now, at this time, I just want to give you a friendly reminder, do not use the box, enter your user ID and password, or the yellow button that says click here to register. Please ignore those 2 items on this page. So I'm going to go ahead and click here to access my single sign-on tool. Now you have accessed the single sign-on page. Now, if you do not have an account, go ahead and click sign up at the bottom. Notice where it says do not have an account, click sign up. Go ahead and click sign up. Go ahead and enter your first name I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate a trainer account today and enter in your last name. Go ahead and put in an email address. This could be any email address, the email address that you have access to. So I'm going to go ahead and put a trainer account in here, a valid email address. So once you have the first name, last name, and email in the appropriate boxes, go ahead and click sign up. Now, this following screen will not appear for most of you. However, some of you may realize or may not realize that you have currently an ID.iowa.gov account already set up using some of our other state of Iowa applications. How will you know if you have an account set up? You would get an error message much like this. It says a user with this email already exists. So if you receive this error, no worries. Go back and click on already have an account. Go ahead and use that same email address that you just typed in and click next. And then you would be asked to enter in your password and continue on to the dashboard. If for some reason you might have forgotten your password or maybe unable to log in, you can go ahead and click forgot password in the password page, or you can go back to sign in. And if you need to unlock your account, you could go ahead and do so. Now we're going to go continue on for those that do not have an email address in the ID.iowa.gov and continue on with that process. Now you are asked to set up security methods. There is no wrong way to set this up, but I'm going to go ahead and show you the recommended way. Go ahead and select the option password. Go ahead and click set up underneath password. Now you'll notice there are some password requirements. Go ahead and make sure you review those password requirements and go ahead and enter a password and then re-enter a password. Once you've entered a password and re-enter password, go ahead and click next. Now you are doing the next step, which is to verify your email. This is where you're going to navigate to your current email box, look for an email from ID.gov, and you will go ahead and find a verification code. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm currently in my current email system, which is Gmail, but this would work for any email system. You would get an email from admin@id.iowa.gov. Once you open that email, you will see a one-time code. You could quickly just copy that code or memorize it and go ahead and go back to the screen that you currently were on and enter in that code. I'm going to go ahead and navigate back to the ID.gov and go ahead and enter that code and click verify. If for some reason you didn't get it, go ahead and click send again if you want to have it be sent to your inbox. You might want to check your spam or other folders within your inbox, but it should come in directly to your email. I'm going to go ahead and click verify. Now this page is to set up additional security methods. Now what this is just to give you one more additional security method to identify who you are. We would strongly encourage maybe to check out setup phone. If you choose to, that's the most common one. You're used to these multi-factor authentication, especially in financial institutions. So again, just add an extra set of layer of security if you choose to. You could choose phone if you want. The other one that we recommend is Okta Verify. But again, not required, but maybe strongly encouraged. Again, I'm going to go ahead and click set up later, and then I will be currently signed into Iowa Grants. Now this page will vary per user. This is an example of a brand new user to Iowa Grants. They will be asked to complete the registration portion, which is this particular page. However, some of you will fall under the bucket of actually already having an Iowa Grants account, and you'll be prompted to a brand new page, which will get you directly where you need to go. Before I end this video, I strongly encourage you to check out the resources below in the description to learn more on how to get signed into Iowa Grants. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks everyone. I'm going to ask Chris to stop sharing his screen so I can start sharing mine, and we'll start walking through the application process. All right. Chris, can you confirm that you're seeing a calendar on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. All right. Hi, everyone. That video was just for any new users signing up for the first time to Iowa Grants or signing up for the first time in Iowa Grants since December 1st of 2022. So most of you on this call have likely already signed on to Iowa Grants, and that video may not pertain to, but we wanted to make sure that we did provide that for any new users that might be coming on board for the first time that have not created an Iowa Grants account before or has not signed on to Iowa Grants since December of 2022. So when you are signed on to Iowa Grants for the looking for this opportunity, we're going to walk through what you're going to be looking for and also walk through parts of the application process. Again, I forgot to mention my name. I'm Patrick Rice. I'm the grant administrator overseeing this this award. So when you log on to Iowa Grants, likely you will see a blue bar that is this header bar right in the middle of your screen. So you probably won't see this calendar, but you will see the most important piece, which is the funding opportunities list over to your on your left-hand ribbon. Go ahead and click Funding Opportunities, and it will pull up all opportunities currently available in Iowa Grants across the state, across all agencies. You will not see these red boxes that say test. You will only see green boxes that say posted or potentially gray boxes that say closed. The quickest way to find the grant that you, the CDL infrastructure grant is to just type in CDL in the search box on your right-hand side, and it will automatically pull up the Future Ready Iowa Workforce Development CDL infrastructure grant opportunity. Once you have that, go ahead and click the row, and it will pull up the funding opportunity details. It'll talk about the project dates that Chris has already mentioned. It has the application deadline of September 25th, 2023 at 2 p.m. And it has a short description of the notice of funding opportunity. So this is not the full funding opportunity notice. This is just an abbreviated version of it. So please make sure that you scroll all the way to the bottom where you can find the additional attachments. This is important because you'll want to download a couple of these documents for your submission. The first one I want to call out is the CDL Full Notice of Funding Opportunity. When you select this, another window will pop up or will open, taking you to the Full Notice of Funding Opportunity, which is 12 pages long. Okay, so again, to access the full notice of funding opportunity, you would just select that file name, select that link, and a new window will pop up, will open up for you for the full notice of funding opportunity. This is where if you have questions related to the eligibility or the maximums or what are eligible items for your budget, this is where you would find that information. If you have questions regarding that, those would be directed to Chris. Another item that you will want to pay attention to is Appendix A. Appendix A is the document that Chris highlighted already once that talks about the general information about the application itself. You will see that in Appendix A that each section is broken down to different fields. So you can see the project and design, including sustainability. That section of the application will have 4 different fields highlighted by the 4 bullets that you will need to complete. Likewise, performance measures, you will, in that performance measures section, you will have 2 fields that you will need to complete. One where you talk about the project activities and project goals. The next field is the project timeline with key milestones. Okay, so Appendix A outlines the process of the application and what the questions what the questions are going to be in the application. Appendix B is the new user guide. Again, once you select that link, it'll pop open a new tab, and this is for new user registration. That this will take you to the link to the video that we just saw. It'll take you first to a written instruction document that has highlights. So if you prefer to do this instead of watching the video, this is available, or you can click the instructional video and rewatch the video that we just saw that Chris showed. All right. So again, these 3 tabs are the 3 appendices, the Appendix A, Appendix B, and the full notice of opportunity. We also have the budget form and a blank W-9. Okay, these are 2 documents that you will want to download because these are going to be required to submit as part of your application. So again, you can select the budget form, and I already have one pulled up. Hopefully you're seeing an Excel document that I just drag over to the window, you will see the cost
You can't see
categories
it?
that you
Okay.
have an option. You can't see it. Okay, I will. I'll talk about that in just a bit then. So,
Okay.
all right. So again, you'll want to make sure that you download both of these forms and submit it with your application. Okay. Now we're going to talk about actually starting your application. When you're ready to start your application, you scroll to the very top of the Notice of Funding Opportunity. You'll see a green button on the right-hand side that says Start Application. When you select that, it'll take you to a new window that asks you for a title of your application, the organization you belong with, and your name. Very simple information. And then you click Save, and now your application has begun. Okay. Make sure anytime that you add anything to your application, you click Save, and before you close, and you are able to come back in and out of your application until the opportunity closes on September 25th. Once you start an application, you can see that it will be highlighted at the top of the screen. So you can see that I've already started an application. It's currently in editing status, and the title is Test Application. If I want to go back into that application, I just select it, and it will take me right back to where I left off with my last save. Okay. Again, this is just general information that has been completed, and I am ready to edit pieces of my application. So I'm going to select the green button that says Edit Application, and it's going to give me an option to select the 5 different areas of the application. The general information, again, is just the title screen of the title of your application, the contact organization, and your name. You can see that that's already been completed. Minority impact statement is a couple questions that are standard for all state applications. The cover sheet of general information, again, is a standard document for all grant applications through the state of Iowa. So really the only 2 areas that are unique to this grant is the executive summary and the CDL main application. Okay, I'm going to go and select the executive summary and open that. You can see that there's not an area for me to edit any information, so I have to click the green button that says Edit Form on the right-hand side, and that allows me to start adding in information. Okay, you can see at the bottom that there are the character limits left in each of the sections. And as you go, make sure you continue to click Save Form before you leave this screen, so you save all the information that you've already typed in. You'll notice that some areas are red and some areas are black. Any of the areas that are red are required fields, and you will not be able to submit your application if these red fields are not complete. Because this is federal funds from the American Rescue Plan Act, a SAM.gov unique ID is required as part of the awarding. It is not required as part of the application, mostly because if you do not have your SAM.gov, it could be a little bit of a process, and we don't want that to delay the submission of your application. Just know that if you are selected as an awardee, you will be required to have an active SAM.gov unique ID at the beginning of the award, before the award can be officially awarded to you, and it must maintain active status through the entirety of the period of performance. If you already have your SAM.gov, go ahead and enter it so we already have that on file. There are a few questions for a prior grant assessment questionnaire. This is kind of a risk assessment, as well as a conflict of interest statement. Again, if it's red, it is required. If it's black, it is not a required section for you to complete, for you to submit your application. Okay, I'm going to go and select Save Form, and it will take me back to the areas where I'm still in the executive summary, so I'm still in this tab. Now, there's 2 different views that you can move between your application. I like this tabbed version because I can just move between the minority impact statement, the cover sheet, executive summary, or the main application. If you don't like this view, you can select App List, and this tab will take you back to the same 5 areas that we saw at the very beginning. We've already talked about the executive summary, so now let's go into the CDL infrastructure main application. Again, If I want to start editing the application, I select Edit Form, which is the green button to the right, and it pulls up those same fields along with the character limits in each of those sections. You can see that the section header is the service area worth 10 points, and each of the sections or each of the fields in that section are highlighted in blue. So again, in the service area section, there are 2 fields that you will need to complete. You can see the point total for each of the sections will match the Appendix A information, which is the talks about how each section is laid out. And as you'll also see that there are some yes or no questions, some drop-down questions as well. So again, pretty it's laid out in a way that is supposed to mirror Appendix A. So again, I really encourage you to follow Appendix A as you're typing in your responses to these questions. At the bottom, you'll see that there's an area for you to attach, to include attachments. You'll see that the W-9 is a required form for you to complete your application. You'll see that the budget attachment is an option, and then additional attachments. Chris mentioned earlier that the procurement policy was a required piece of this award. Again, because these are federal funds through the American Rescue Plan Act, you must have a procurement policy on file that at least meets the federal standards in 2 CFR 200. So we do have examples of procurement policies if you need that. More than likely, your community college already has one in place. We just need to have that on file to make sure that it does meet the federal minimum requirements. And so just if you have a procurement policy, you can go ahead and attach that in the additional attachments section. Okay, so again, application is all included in Iowa Grants. The deadline is September 25th at 2 p.m. If you have any questions about the application itself, please make sure you direct those questions to myself. If you have questions about what's eligible, how do you respond to this question? If you have specific questions about the program itself, those would need to be directed to Chris. All right, I'm going to see if I can share the budget form now. Just one second. Okay. Are you seeing just the Iowa Workforce Development Grant budget form now? Should be an Excel document.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so again, this form is located at the bottom of the Notice of Funding Opportunity announcement, along with all the appendices and the full Notice of Funding Opportunity. As you complete your budget form, you'll see that there's a cost category section in column A with drop-down items. These are the items, the cost categories that are eligible expenses for this award. There is an other option if you feel that something does not fit into these categories, but please make sure that you try to use these budget categories. Provide a short description. And then you can see that are you asking for grant funds to cover these expenses, or is it going to be part of your cost sharing amount? If you look at the 3 different tabs at the bottom, you can go to drop down list, or I'm sorry, instructions. Go to the tab that says instructions. This will help provide a little bit of a definition between what those cost categories entail. So if you have questions, it's like, I'm not quite sure if this fits into the construction and remodeling cost category, or if it would be something different. You can access the instructions tab, and hopefully that will answer your question. If not, those questions would be best directed to Chris. All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and turn it back over to Chris.
Thanks, Patrick. We're gonna just do a couple of Q&A answers on the webinar. There's been a couple of questions here. We can clarify those. There are some that we will need to talk back and forth a little bit, and we'll make sure to put those answers in the Q&A sheet that we'll get out in the next couple days. One question that was asked, we are running our CDL program with a minimal net revenue, dealing with fluctuating fuel costs, and any chance we can increase tuition if we can show actual costs justify an increase to break even. It does say within the notice of funding opportunity that community colleges must agree to a CDL tuition freeze for 5 years after the infrastructure project is complete. We had another question: can the requests exceed $1 million if we have 50% match to support our higher request? Once again, in the notice of funding opportunity, the maximum grant awards are set at $1 million. Is this grant for a student wanting to get a CDL? This is eligible for public community colleges located in Iowa. Individuals wanting to obtain their CDL would not be considered an eligible applicant. We did have one question regarding the different types of CDLs. When you talk about CDL, does that just include CDL A, or does this grant cover CDL B with a school bus and passenger endorsement? The NOFO states CDL license. It does not speak specifically to a CDL endorsement. All right, those are some of the questions. The remaining questions, we'll make sure that we get those posted and get those out to attendees. I don't know if we have any other ones. Yeah. The remaining questions, we'll make sure to get them in a Q&A and get them sent out within the next few days. Patrick, do you have anything else you want to add?
This is going a little bit probably too far than what we need to, but there was a question that just came in about what type of supporting documentation do you need for construction projects, equipment, et cetera. This will be covered in an awardee webinar where we talk about what is needed for that expense documentation. It varies a little bit, especially when it comes to construction. Typically, it's a proof of invoice or proof of purchase, which would be an invoice that you purchase the equipment, and then a proof of payment, such as a cleared front and back of a check, credit card statement, or a bank statement showing that you've paid that amount. Construction costs, typically there's a pay app that might be needed, and with further description. So all that will be covered in the awardee webinar, though.
Okay. All right. Like I said, in the next few days, we will have the webinar posted. We'll have the PowerPoint posted so that you have those tools. And then also we'll put a Q&A information sheet out there to answer the rest of the questions. We want to thank everybody for attending. Once again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Full notice of funding opportunity, once again, is on the Earn and Learn IowaWorkforceDevelopment.gov website. You can also IowaGrants.gov to start your CDL application. And then once again, I'll put our information on here. My name's Chris Byam, Interim Division Administrator, Iowa Workforce Development, and Patrick Rice is our Grant Administrator. Feel free to give us a call. Once again, we will post all the Q&A questions as soon as we get those answered. So once again, thank you guys for joining us. We look forward to working with you and helping you out however we can. Have a great day.